Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our latest podcast slash blog. Just a friendly reminder, this is not financial advice. We just finding little small cap stocks with great, amazing CEOs. Now, the next gentleman we have here, he's the CEO of Freelancer. Matt, how are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure. Now, for those that don't know, I think everyone's heard of Freelancer, but can you just give those that have been living under a rock that they've never heard of it? A quick
Sure.
30-second spiel. What's Freelancer?
Well, we're building a global marketplace for services. So we basically are building a mini Amazon. So we are in the fields of labor, payments, and freight. We have three companies within the group. We have freelancer.com, which is the global marketplace for jobs, where there's 77 million people from all around the world. So any job you can possibly think of, you can get done on Freelancer. The smallest job we have at the moment, probably up on the site, is around $10. For that, you could do something like post a contest for a logo and get hundreds and hundreds of entries in a very interactive format. And the largest project we have currently running on the site is 10 million Australian dollars, which is for gene editing in the central nervous system of humans with the National Institute of Health in the United States and with NASA. So we have Freelancer, which is 77 million people. Literally anywhere there's electricity on the internet, we have freelancers from around the world. We work with the likes of Deloitte or Airbus or NASA or you name it, Fortune 500s all around the world, consumers, small business, mid-sized businesses, just literally everywhere. The second company we've got is escrow.com, which is a payments business. This is the world's largest online escrow company. We've done about 10 billion Australian dollars in payments through this to date. It's for buying, it's like PayPal, but it's for expensive or complicated items. A bit like PEXA in the housing market in Australia will handle transaction settlement for buying a house. We do that for any asset class or any service. So buying a boat, car, jewelry, gemstones, diamonds, M&A, import, export, you name it. We're the only payment method for eBay Motors in the US, for example, when you buy a car. When Facebook rebranded to Meta.com, they used us for the transaction to buy the domain name and also buy all the trademarks. We've had transactions go through like tickets for a tourist to go to a space station. But any type, we sell oil wells online, you name it. So any sort of expensive or complicated item, we have pretty much a very dominant space in the online escrow world. And we also run a heavy haulage trucking marketplace, which is the largest in Australia. We've done over 800 million kilometres of freight called LoadShift. And midweek, on a day like today, we might do about 400,000 kilometres of freight in a day. So you can think of it like a freelancer, but for freight, and we service the mining industry and construction primarily. So labor, payments, and freight, it's all businesses all services that businesses need. And we're trying to build a mini Amazon of services. Amazon is a very large company in the product space. It's a global marketplace of products, over 1 trillion market cap. Alibaba's over 1 trillion market cap, doing the same thing out of China. No one has cracked the nut yet in terms of services globally. We're giving it a good go.
So it's a very competitive space that you're in. What makes the platform different to your peers, to your competitors?
I wouldn't say it's actually super competitive. We're the largest in the world by quite a large margin with 77 million freelancers. We have a competitor that's about 1/3 the size of us in terms of number of users. It's got a higher market cap. It's listed in the US. But outside of that, I did quite a big roll-up from around 2009 to about 2014, where I basically acquired any of the global marketplaces for jobs that were kind of directly in the space for the most part. So I think it was about 29 businesses all up that we rolled up over that period of time. So I think in terms of the competition, we are definitely the largest range at the lowest cost. You can get things done for about 1/10 of the price what you would normally pay. If you haven't tried Freelancer, it's free to post a job, free to sign up. The bids come in, and if you award someone and they accept it, we charge you only 3%. So I encourage you to give it a go, because nowhere else in the world is as liquid as we are on Freelancer for getting jobs done.
I have used your services before, and I'm sure I'll use them again. Now, everyone's talking about AI. How is Freelancer going to use AI technology to improve efficiencies?
Okay, so this is pretty crazy, actually. There's a few different angles to AI, which is absolutely phenomenal for our business. The first is that the skill and the value of our freelancers now has now gone through the roof by an order of magnitude. In the past, you could be an ordinary copywriter. Now, using GPT, you can be an exceptional copywriter. In the past, you could be an average illustrator. Now, using Midjourney, you can be an exceptional illustrator. And we're at the point now where in the next couple of months, the same thing will happen in software development. So as a programmer, you're going to get that 10 or 100x sort of boost in productivity from the use of AI. So what that's meant is the skill of our 77 million freelancers has gone up dramatically, which means the value for the money and the productivity that you get by using a service like Freelancer is through the roof. I mean, it was already very, very inexpensive to use as a platform. It's an incredibly deflationary business. NASA has published a white paper on using our platform from 2015 to 2024, and their experience hiring thousands and thousands of freelancers. And they've showed that they can get a cost reduction of anywhere between 80 and 99%, depending on the type of work they're doing, and apply that across government programs. So pretty exceptional to get that sort of cost reduction. But with AI, the skills have gone up even dramatically higher. So that's a big thing that's really putting the wind in the sails in terms of the value of our marketplace. The other thing is that we're about to head into a very big revolution in terms of how businesses use technology to grow and find customers and service their markets. I'm old enough to remember. I don't know how old you are, John, but in 1994, it was the year that only geeks had email addresses. So only people at uni, enrolled in computer science and the like, really had access to the internet and to email. And I think the commercial internet hit Australia in 1991. 1995 was the year your grandmother had an email address. So the internet really went commercial and really went mainstream from 94 to 95. Businesses from all around the world said, okay, this is amazing. I can sell to customers from all around the world through the internet. And to do that, they need to get websites delivered. So they built, every business in the world got a website built. That became a huge revolution. It really spawned the whole dot-com boom as every bricks and mortar business became e-commerce businesses through building websites. Today, that's about 30% of our job volume on Freelancer. It's a very, very huge category. In fact, I think it's number one on our site in terms of volume. The second big revolution that happened after web development was app development. So when you had the iPhone, Android wars, we were reporting on a quarterly basis, neck and neck, who might win in terms of who is having the most apps built and the ecosystems and so forth. Quite a number of businesses realized that they needed to sell through mobile, and not every business, but quite a large number of businesses needed to do so. Quite a large number of businesses needed to have apps, and they're quite revolutionary business models that came out as a result of mobile. And others figured out over time you could actually take a desktop website and you can make it responsive and make it work on your phone in a responsive format. Today, app development is about 16% of the work from memory that we do through Freelancer. So you had web development, you had app development, but what's about to hit imminently is AI development. And most businesses hear about AI, but they have no idea how that actually applies to their business. And in particular, there's one part of AI, which is the delivery of AI agents, which is basically AI fulfilling a role that maybe one of your staff members would normally perform, maybe in support or maybe in sales. That is about to go absolutely mental. And literally, the reason why I'm a little bit late to this interview, and I apologize for that, is that I literally came off a podcast with Jane Liu, who's one of Australia's top entrepreneurs, who started an e-commerce fashion business that's killing it. It's got, I think, a 9-digit of turnover now in that particular business. And live on the podcast, I built for her a AI agent to answer the phone for her online fashion business and deal with one of the most important queries that she gets, which is customers returning items they've bought online. I can give you a demo of what it looks like. What's exciting about this is people don't realize you don't need PhDs in machine learning to deploy AI for your business. It's as cheap and as easy as getting a website built or an app built. You can get an AI agent built. And so for her, I built a voice agent. So this is an AI that will answer the phone, talk to a customer, and return an item. And I'll show you what it sounds like. I'll stick this on speaker, so you should be able to hear this.
Yeah.
Is that coming through?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Hey, welcome to Sopo. This is Chelsea. Do you have about 5 minutes to chat about your return?
Hi, Chelsea. I do. No more than 10 minutes, though.
Perfect. That should be plenty of time. Do you have the return number handy?
I've got it somewhere. Can you give me 2 minutes to go look for it?
Sure thing. Take your time. I'll be right here when you're ready.
Okay. I think I found the return now. I think the number is 456.
Awesome. Thanks for that. And what's the reason you're returning the item?
Well, I bought a cute little pink dress for John, but unfortunately, I wanted the size 6, but you sent me a size 8, so I'd like to return it.
Got it. Sorry about the mix-up. You can send the dress back to our returns address at P.O. Box 420, Double Bay, New South Wales, 2028. Once we receive it, we'll process your return within 48 hours.
How long have I got to return the dress?
You have 7 days to return the dress for a cash refund. If it's after 7 days, within 30, you can still get store credit. Just make sure to send it back within that time frame.
Okay, I think I'm within the 7 days. I mean, how long will it take to process my refund?
Great. If you're within the 7 days, we'll process your return within 48 hours of receiving it. After that, the refund should appear on your bank or credit card statement in 2 or 3 days.
Can you just swap the dress for me, though? Like if I send it back, can you swap it over?
We don't do direct exchanges. Here's what you can do. Return the dress for a refund or store credit, and then you can place a new order for the size 6. That way, you can secure the size you need before it sells out.
Okay, that's great. Thanks for your time. I'll send it back to that address. Thank you.
You're welcome. As soon as we get it, we'll process your return.
Sorry, can you give me
Great day.
just give me the return address one more time? Sorry, I just didn't write it down properly. I just want to verify it. Can you give me what the return address was? I have to like, but anyway,
That was impressive.
But,
I get the point. Just for our viewers out there,
yeah.
I'm actually real. This is not AI generated. This is a legit podcast between two human beings. But that is very impressive.
I literally sat down with her on the Showpo podcast that will be coming out in about 2 weeks, and she brought in one of her customer service agents, Chelsea, and she told me how Chelsea does her job and what Chelsea does. And then literally I was on my phone typing in the prompt effectively to perform the role or role play as Chelsea. These agents can transfer the call to a live human. So for example, if it touches on certain areas, such as I want to make a purchase or something, they can say, I can just transfer to someone to go do that. Or I want to talk to the manager or whatever it may be. So that handles that seamlessly. And the whole thing, literally, if you watch that podcast, and we'll put it on our Freelancer channels, it took me maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes to really type that in, just talking to them. Obviously, that's not super robust. It was just a first cut. But you get a freelancer to do that. You get a freelancer to hook that up using APIs to maybe your back-end e-commerce store, the database or what have you. You would have the conditions by which you would actually escalate that to a live person, and the phone number's plugged in. And that whole thing is really the same price as an app. And you can get apps built on Freelancer anywhere from $500 to $5,000 plus. It really depends how complex you want to make it. And that's sort of the ballpark that it would cost to get this sort of AI agent built and deployed in your site. You could do it as voice. You could do it as text chat. You could do it as streaming a video in real time with your face, your image. You did the voice with your particular with it trained on your voice model. And I think this is going to be absolutely mental. This will be the third wave: web development, app development, AI development. Every business will need it, large and small. And where do you go to get it done? You go to Freelancer to get it done. The same place you get your website built.
The next podcast of ours will be via AI. It won't be real. The way things are going. That's very exciting. Now, talk to us about your growth strategy and potential new markets.
So we've just come out of COVID, where quite a number of businesses were related to the COVID trade got beaten up, and we're obviously one of those in terms of when people came out of lockdown, the last thing you wanted to do is work on a startup or work in your business or grow your business. You wanted to go to Europe, you wanted to go on holiday, you wanted to see your friends, you wanted to see your family. That has all gone away in terms of the macro effects, and we have really doubled down and invested on product development, making the product experience great. We've invested heavily on AI features on the website, such as when you post your project now, it will write a full technical specification for you. And really, you can go to the site, you can put a few bullet points in of what you want, and the AI will write it out in terms of a complete app. We've got a whole managed service layer now with recruiters and project managers that will help you get the job done. And we've built a really good collaborative tool suite to help you communicate effectively, work in a workroom, and really keep track of what your development process and so on. And we've got some pretty crazy stuff coming before the end of the year. And we've got whiteboards that are driven by AI, where you can just draw something with a whiteboard marker on a virtual whiteboard, hit a button, and it'll make a prototype for you while you're on the site. Some pretty crazy stuff. As a result, as we reported in the last quarter, the customer acquisition in terms of cash coming in from new customers year on year in the last 30 days on a rolling basis is up almost 30%. It's in the high 20s percent year on year, and that will flow through the rest of the business. We're doubling down on that next year. The platform is absolutely phenomenal in terms of what you can get done. It's nowhere else in the world can you get something done so cheap and so easily. And I really do think that with all the investment we've made in product, all the investment we've made in AI, the skills being lifted of all the freelancers on the platform, thanks to the AI tooling they're all using, plus coming out of that whole COVID macro period, and that's well and truly gone now. We're going to have a really, really good year next year, and you can see it in the results. We've lifted cash flow quite dramatically. I think in the last quarter we're up 88% year on year in terms of the operating cash flow. And across the other businesses, Escrow had a really great quarter last quarter, and overall, the GMV through the business in the third quarter was up about 26% year on year, which is about $280 million per quarter going through the bank account. So we've got a lot of cash going through the business. We've been lifting the margins up in some parts of the business in terms of the gross margin. And in the third quarter of this year, which we just had because we operate in a calendar year, we were profitable on an NPAT basis for the group. So we're at the point now we've got some serious operating leverage.
Can you use the AI technology to prevent leakage? So what I mean by that, you get someone on Freelancer to do a job and you're like, hey, mate, I'll pay you cash in hand.
It's funny you mentioned that because we do have quite a sophisticated data science operation, and we do actually stream in real time all the activity that happens on the site through both AI as well as classifiers that we've built. And that has been absolutely phenomenal for detecting the bad guys operating in the marketplace, particularly people who want to spam or people who want to take people off site and disintermediate. And in fact, I think I reported in the quarter results, that's been one of the great things that's really turned around the performance of the financial metrics in the business this year, is we've really done an incredible job. We have a very good understanding and very good sophistication in terms of the activity on the site. And in fact, I really look forward to next year, because next year we can do things like we can look at the conversations that are going on, and we can find ways to be very helpful with projects. So if a project's going off the rails a little bit, or communications breaking down between the freelancer and the client, we can jump in. If we can QA support, so we can look at support's responses, and we can do real-time QA and real-time feedback to the support team. And in fact, I think in the next 12 months, the majority of tier one support is going to head to fully AI. And the amazing thing about AI is the answers are about 4 times higher quality, 4 times longer, and about 10 times more empathetic. And so, and you can do it any language, any day, any time, instantly, with a really, really great and very in deep domain experience about any particular project you want to get done. And of course, the AI will pass it off to humans, etc., when it needs to, depending on what you need to do. So I think it's going to be a pretty phenomenal experience in the next 12 months on Freelancer. It's getting pretty amazing. If you haven't tried the site, I encourage you to do so. It's free to sign up, free to post a project, and give it a go.
Will do. So what do shareholders have to look forward to over the next 6 to 12 months?
Well, I mean, coming out of COVID, we've been beaten up in terms of the share price. This is really quite a value stock at this point in time. It was about 100 million market cap, and there's 3 businesses, about 20-something million dollars cash on the balance sheet, and it's incredible value. And I think we really at the point now where we put heads down. We've really focused on the business. We've got the group to basically NPAT profitability, and now I want to sustain that. I want to sustain a nice earnings line and really get the top line revenue pumping. We've done really well on the customer acquisition front. That is going to flow through the rest of the business, and I think we should be in a pretty good turning point for the whole group through the next 12 months. At the end of the day, we're chasing effectively $1 trillion prize. I mean, in the global marketplace for product space, you've got Amazon and Alibaba, which are both $1 trillion businesses with a T, US dollars, and nobody's done it in the services space yet, right? I'm pretty surprised it hasn't happened. Obviously, it will take a lot of work to get there, but we're talking very, very big industries. We're in labor, we're in payments, and we're in freight. Together, we're a mini Amazon, and so there's a huge amount of growth in all those industries, and we'll give it our best shot to get as big as we can.
Matt will be watching with great interest. We're backing you. We'll see how we go, and we really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me, John.
Thank you.